Hello everyone, and welcome to the bonus video of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where I'm going to be going over the things that you get at the beginning of the game, but I just didn't go over in my playthrough. For a start, there is this sound test code where if you enter it correctly, you'll be able to access level select, and it's 1965-917, which is actually the date for when Yuji Naka was born, surprisingly. But after entering it, so it's 1965-917, if you hold down the A button and press start, you access the stage select, where, pretty much you can access all the stages. So if you're having trouble, trying to get to a certain stage, just enter the code and you should be fine. So yeah. Although I didn't do it because that would be cheating, and I like to do it the proper way instead. Besides, I had save states, so what can I say? But still. With that though, I'm going to be heading over to Wing Fortress. You may have heard me that in an episode I was saying that I'd show off how to defeat this boss, the proper way. Because first of all I did it as Super Sonic. So I'm going to show you how to do it normally. And honestly, it's pretty difficult doing it with normal Sonic. Because you have these spikes going around and you basically have to hit the laser by jumping at it and all that, using the spikes as platforms. And the thing that's annoying is they'll bounce all over the place, and pretty much, the laser will be shooting you, and you basically just got to keep jumping and make sure that you duck at the right moments to avoid it. I honestly find this harder than the final boss, the Death Egg Robot. But still, I guess it's because I practice more on the Death Egg Robot, because, well, I had to do a lot of practicing in order to try to beat the game after all. The last boss in the game is pretty difficult first time. I had a lot of troubles with it as a kid. And also like Dr. Eggman's just smiling and smirking at us. I'll always love Dr. Robotnik, not Eggman. I heard I just said Eggman just then. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you just keep jumping at the laser, don't do it when it fires it or else you'll get hit. And that's all good. As you can see, I acquired quite a lot of rings since I got 6 lives and I got 202 rings. So that's all good. Next thing I want to show off is this. Even though you enter 1965-917 to unlock the special stage mode, if you enter the codes 4, 1, 2 and 6 and hold down the A button and press start, or however you do it on the emulator where the Sega Mega Drive controller, the A button is programmed, you'll be able to play as Super Sonic. So if you collect 50 rings, at the beginning of an act, you'll be able to turn into Super Sonic. It's basically just a shortcut if you're having trouble, collecting the Chaos Emeralds. So I definitely did this as a kid because I sucked at gaming, I tell ya. If anything, I still suck at gaming now. But still. So yeah, if you're having trouble, collecting the Chaos Emeralds, just enter 4, 1, 2 and 6 on the stage select, sound select, I don't know. And you should be fine. Now to show off probably the most awesome feature in the game. Seriously. This is what made me think this game's really cool. There'll be this extra code called 1992-1124, which will act as the debug mode. And surprisingly, 1992-1124 is actually the date that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released. So that's another reason why I wanted to start off this LP on the 24th of November. But as you can see, you pretty much access debug mode, where you can shapeshift into anything. It can be rings, waterfalls, badniks, Dr. Robotnik, a TV, a lamppost. In short, it's basically a level editor. And also, as you can see, the timer and scoreboard are a bit mucked up since they're going all over the place. They don't even know where they are. And yeah, I activated the lampposts and they're all going off. When you play around with this, it's pretty difficult to explain what's going on about because there's so much going on, I tell ya. But I do like this feature a lot. And by the way, this is not me doing this, this can't really be done on an emulator. This can be done on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Mega Drive. This can be done on Sonic Mega Collection Plus. This can be done on Sonic Classic Collection for the DS. So it's not like a hack or anything on the emulator. This is actually done. This is what they programmed into the game. Also, when you die, if you've used the debug mode button, which is, I don't know, B or C, I don't know, I forget. You basically just transform into this thing and you'll be able to stay alive. So in a way, you literally broke the game. So as you can see, when I put all these coconuts all over the place. They just go really all over the place, and I'm surprised that the Sega Mega Drive hasn't frozen after this. It honestly was quite powerful to keep up with all this, but still. One thing I love doing though is this. If you have trouble reaching the end of X, just make your own ending bit, where you jump on the animals and that's it, the day is saved. So pretty much the act's done, and even though I haven't really reached the end. Again, you know, it's just a lot of fun just playing around with the debug mode. It's all good. If you want though, you can basically just play through it normally with the debug mode. The only thing that's going to be different is the timer won't go the way it's supposed to, and the scoreboard's like got all in binary code. The thing that will be good is this though. If you entered 4, 1, 2 and 6 earlier, you know, to access Supersonic, you can actually do this. With the debug mode, when you become Supersonic, if you get one of those TVs that I may have shapeshifted into earlier, and, you know, jump on one, this will happen. For some reason, the screen will go blue and swap around, and this time, Tails is invincible, so now we have Super Tails. And the thing that's weird is Supersonic is no longer super. He can even take hits for some reason. I don't know how it works, but I love it. I really love the debug mode in this game. It's a lot of fun, I gotta say. Also, you can actually do this if you don't really like running through stages, which is weird because this is Sonic the Hedgehog. You can basically just fly through them with whatever you are. You can penetrate through walls. So yeah, it's all good. For some reason I did the checkpoint there even though I laid one. And just to be different, how about Tails does all the work for a change? So he's going to kill Dr. Robotnik for me. Look at him just yawning. But still, this time Tails seems to be the hero because he's Super Tails this time. I know he's not golden, none of his hair spikes up like Sonic does for some reason. It's, you know, it's a bit different, but I really like this a lot. And the fight is as easy as ever. Even though I took a hit, but still. One thing though that's weird is this. When you defeat Dr. Robotnik, or you know, you're in the middle of the fight, or should I say after you defeat him, when you try to enter debug mode, you know, the debug mode button, there'll be all sorts of Eggman shapes. It's no longer like platforms or anything, but I would not recommend putting them down as it causes the game to freeze. So don't do that. And just to be different, I'm going to do this. I'm going to save this area twice and kill Tails for some reason. As you can see, the animals are free. I could have done that at the beginning, but I felt the need to show off what else is in here. I'm going to save it again. This time, words are coming out. What's going on? But also, when you get to the other zones, it will be a bit different as well, because this time, you know, in Emerald Hill Zone, you could transform into coconuts, buzz bombers, you know, basically all the Sonic enemies in that zone. You can also, you know, do one in like Chemical Plant, like add these speed boosters, platforms. Basically, in each zone, you know, you get to add pretty much everything that's around, like the platforms and everything. And for some reason I felt the need to add loads of speed boosters and these blue enemies that jump over you for some reason. Oh god. And there's so much stuff going on that it's slowing down. But still. Oh god, I love this mode. Definitely makes the game good. For those of you who thought, you know, Sonic Hedgehog 2 was just a game where you run all the way to the end of a stage, you thought wrong. There is a lot more to do if you know the cheat codes and all that. Trust me. Sorry, I'm just playing around with the debug mode, it's so much fun. You can even put these enemies, you know, that go up on the walls, even though there's no wall. But still, you know, it's definitely a lot of fun placing enemies around and just building your own level from it. I love it a lot. It's brilliant. There's also this thing that you can do. If you die, if you press the button, you know, that activates debug mode. You can stay alive. So if you know you die and then you make it towards the end, you basically just revive yourself by pressing the debug mode and then pressing off again. And I've cleared the act, but what's going on? I'm a buzz like this beetle thing and the signs are weird and I took a hit! I got through that one and now I'm dead. Oh, this is madness, I tell ya. This is Sparta. I also want to do this. With the debug mode, how about we do it the cheating way, where instead of doing it with 0 rings like it forces you to do, how about we beat it with Supersonic instead? Oh god. If you had too many of those swapping, TVs, that's actually from multiplayer mode, but I'll get onto that a bit. Stuff happens. Like, as you can see, the texture's gone, like there's no more blue sky for some reason. And now we're at Metal Sonic. Ugh, it's hard to keep up with what's going on, I tell ya, but still. But I'm going to try and change into, some rings that I can change into Supersonic, but I'm going to hang around for quite a while, because, Metal Sonic will basically do these different forms of attacks. I didn't really have time to show it because I finished off this guy nice and easily, if I do say myself, except I'm going off. So, when I try to get 50 rings, I'll show off a bit more of his attacks. Like, as you can see, he'll sometimes jump, sometimes shoot spikes out of his spikes. I don't know how that works. But still, it's Sonic, anything can happen. If Zelda's a bit mucked up, then I'm pretty sure Sonic is as well. When you lay rings though, if you just keep pressing left or right and clicking, the button that lays the debug items, I know it's hard to explain, you should be able to lay in a pattern of rings, like you've made like a 3D shape. Yeah, it's still pretty good. I'm going to collect more than that though, just in case if it runs out. So here's Dr. Robotnik, and he still can't outrun the Hedgehog even when he's Supersonic. That makes no sense. And the texture's gone, instead of it being space, it's just complete black. It's like it's showing us what the beta version of this game is. With it like, instead of it being a spacey background, they like put a black rectangle as a template. As you can see, the fight's easy as ever. But you could actually skip the cutscene, because honestly when you do that first time, it's not possible to skip the cutscene. You have to get into the debug mode in order to escape from it. Otherwise Sonic just runs out the ship and that's the end. And I'm fighting Dr. Robotnik again. What's going on? So the Death Egg is blowing up, but I'm having to fight him again anyway, even though he's dead. And the place is about to blow up and I have to escape. Oh god, this is just madness, I tell ya. Again, this is Sparta. You can even defeat him again, but also, when you defeat him like that, you can also come out of it once again. But this time I noticed that after doing so, he doesn't really come back, I guess, or something. Either that or I didn't really stay around for a while. But with Supersonic's model glitching for some reason, or should I say sprite, we'll just make our way out of here. I'm just going to walk out instead, though, instead of using Supersonic. As you can see, the cutscenes are pretty much the same. I'm pressing the debug mode button and it's not really doing anything, like changing the picture or anything, so it doesn't really edit the cutscenes, with the final ending and all that. But still, I guess it's nice to see how it was originally done and all that, even though they've changed the aspect ratio of the picture, but oh well. With that though, that you can edit this bit though with the in-game cutscene, because you saw there for some reason the sky was in space. And now we can move around for some reason, even though it's not really a level and all. You can even put these items down, which are giving us lives. Again, the possibilities are just endless with debug mode. I really, really like this feature. It definitely makes the game a bit more enjoyable. Well, really it's enjoyable without it, but it's kind of rare in games. And also I like how the music's out of time and all. But yeah, 1992-1124, enjoy the debug mode. It's a lot of fun. Okay, with pretty much all of the cheat codes done out of the way, I might as well show off the 2-player versus. Because you can play through it, normally in 1 player with a friend. But there also is a 2-player versus mode where, well, you verse against each other. But, I don't really have a mate with me or anything, so I'm having to play with 2 controllers. Well, kind of, 2 different things of input on the keyboard, because, I don't really use a controller at the moment. I use a keyboard. This is played in an emulator, but even so. I would have done a bit of multiplayer, but I just wanted to get this bonus video out of the way, as I thought, All I'm doing is moving left and right and all, so it's all good. It's basically just a race to the end of the stage, but instead, you know, you have like these swappable items. So when you come across these boxes with question marks, if you jump on them, you'll be given something random. And there's that swapping thing I was on about where you get it in debug mode. It's basically you swap positions with your character, so you want to make sure you use it wisely. So if you're out in front and your player's behind and you hit one, you're going to swap positions, and this time your opponent is going to be the one that's in the lead. Honestly, this game's quite competitive for multiplayer. It's quite fun as well. But I did quite like multiplayer in Sonic Hedgehog 3 personally. And when one of them clears the act, you know, the other player gets a given amount of time to reach the end. Oh, and also, you know how it's all stretched and everything? You may think, you know, I've stretched it far too much, right? Surely this isn't what it's like in the game. No, that's what it's actually like in the game. But still, there's also special stages. But instead of working together, you know, as a co-op trying to collect the most rings, it's whoever collects the most rings wins. So like it says there, player versus player. If you know what I'm on about there. It's basically, you know, you collect rings, see who wins, and you just win a bunch of rounds and all that. It's quite fun. I don't mind multiplayer in this game. It's pretty cool. Although it's really awkward to play with 2 controllers. But I wanted to get this video done out of the way so I can get ready for my next LP, which I'll reveal a bit more coming towards the end of this bonus video. As you can see, you know, when you clear one, you have like this emblem, below where it says rings. You know how many rings you got and all that? So that, you know, indicates if you've won a round and all. So just keep note of that, I guess. So kind of being obvious here once again. I also like how in the special stages, it's basically just a mishmash of the special stages I've gone through. Because you may have noticed that if you've watched my playthrough, which you probably haven't, but if you haven't, cool. It's basically, you know, similar to the layouts where I've been through the special stages in single player. Like some of them from Special Stage 3, Special Stage 4. I haven't really seen any of those from Special Stage 7, but I haven't really been on multiplayer a lot, you know, because I'm not really going to play multiplayer if I haven't really got a mate with me or anything. I mean, I'm just here to show it off. This one reminds me of the one that we did in Hilltop Zone, where the, you know, the rings were all like this, and I had to collect them as much as I could in order to win. After 3 rounds though, it then begins to end, and then basically, you know, that shows you the results, whoever wins and all that. And now I've got to do it again, so remember you have 2 rounds on each one. And we tied! Again, you know, multiplayer is a lot of fun, so if you have like a buddy or something, just play around with it. Also 2 rounds acts with these stages as well, just to let you know. With that done, I reckon I'm going to show you this. You know you can play with just Sonic. It's also possible to play as Tails alone. So if you just go into options and just do it from there. And with that, how about we see what his ending's like, and compare it with Sonic when he doesn't have the Chaos Emerald. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can cover in Sonic Hedgehog 2. So I've shown off, you know, the multiplayer, the debug mode, basically all that stuff that I didn't really mention in the LP, but I thought it was necessary to show off. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'd definitely recommend getting it. It's a really, really good Sonic game. My personal favourite in my opinion. I prefer it over, you know, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Advance 1, basically all the Sonic games. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is really, really good to me. I like it a lot. It was a big part of my childhood on Sonic Mega Collection Plus. Except I think I said Sonic too many times, really. But still. The endings, you know, were a little bit different. Like, Tails doesn't really have this cinematic cutscene with it all in black and white drawings. He just continuously falls from the sky until landing on the plane. Whereas Sonic has all the cutscenes and all that, and you know, the poses are a bit different. Instead, he had different birds flying around him, and Sonic's flying the plane with Tails. Here's my thing. If Sonic can fly Tails' plane, then why doesn't he just take Tails' plane and go up to the Defect? Why does he have to rush through all the zones and try to get to the Defect? Surely it'll be much easier taking the plane. Ugh. Video game logic, that is all. But still. So, there's not really much else to say. I hope you've enjoyed my bonus video, and I guess I'll give you a clue to what my next LP is. It's basically a compilation of 2 games that already exist on my channel. Or shall I say 2 gaming franchises. That's what I'm going to give away. So take care guys, and I guess I'll see you in my next LP, because I'm going to be taking a bit of a break for a while. It's December after all, might as well take a break.